Weird science
is the revolution.
Hello, all you weirdos. Jim here with a little breaking news. Kind of. Or is it broken news? Oh, my goodness. You see what I did? You'll see what I did in a minute because I'm going to be reading this straight from the Marvel press release. And what this is they ended up announcing who the creative team on and the team for the X-Force book, the new X-Force book coming out in July. And before we get into that, I'll just mention the idea that when they did announce that first round of books with Gail Simone, Jed MacKay, and Eve Ewing, a lot of people thought, yeah, this is the big writers we're getting on this. I know that people tell me Jed MacKay, big guy. I like his writing enough. Gail Simone, people are kind of like for or against her, very polarizing. But the third one, Eve Ewing, seemed like, okay, is that the best of the best? Is this the cream of the crop to get out of the Krakoan era into the From the Ashes area, which I'll tell you right now, I hate the name of that. Just, what era is it? It's From the Ashes. I'm like, what? Seems weird. But people were kind of like rolling their eyes a bit with those first announcements and maybe thinking, well, the big stuff will come and we'll see how big it is when we get these next things. And when we get the X-Force announcement here and it's Geoffrey Thorne writing, I think most people just kind of like shrugged their shoulders. I didn't see many people totally upset about it, but I didn't see a lot of people ranting, raving like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. It's an odd play, but we'll get into this. As I said, this is from the press release straight from Marvel. It says, the world is broken. There's the broken. The mutant kind solution is X-Force. All right. Set in the X-Men's upcoming From the Ashes area. Sounds like a David Bowie album, right? A new X-Force ongoing series by Geoffrey Thorne and Marcus To begins this July. Most of the people who saw this that I talked to, and I did talk to a couple of people to get their opinion on some of this, where they're like, well, I like the art by Marcus To. That seems cool. Now, Geoffrey Thorne, the last thing he did was at DC, as far as I know, and it was the Green Lantern book. And what I can take from that is that he ended up telling a story, not really new user-friendly, not even really any user-friendly. In my mind, the story was very convoluted. It really had problems, and he argued a lot with fans. That's what I really took from it, and seemed in a way that when things could have been worked out to kind of get it a little user-friendly, he like doubled down and made it like, I'm not, like the idea of like, if you don't like this, I'm going to make it even more like that to really have you head. It's weird. I'm not saying that's going to transfer over to this X-Force book. It just kind of gives me like a weird feeling for all of this. And when we get into this, Marvel itself, when you have these, press releases, usually what they'll do is they'll mention a writer and artist and they'll bring up some of the work they've done. Now, if they've done both Marvel and DC, they'll kind of push that DC aside and mention Marvel. But in this, they don't mention anything. They pretty much go with the idea that he is a TV and movie guy. He's done a bunch of stuff for Marvel. That also throws like a red flag up for me that they're like trying to avoid all that, almost to try to make you think this is new. This guy's, he hasn't done much. He's just a TV movie guy, even though that kind of brings its own baggage lately too. But here's what it says. In the X-Men's world, there will always be a need for a team willing to cross the lines no others dare to. A group of mutants who call themselves X-Force. This July, on the edge of the From the Ashes era, the latest evolution of X-Force is born, specifically suited to this brash new age of mutant storytelling. Oh, this brash new age of mutant storytelling, huh? Discover their impossible mission in the new X-Force ongoing series, written by acclaimed screenwriter Geoffrey Thorne. That's what I'm saying. It kind of is weird that he's written a lot of comics and they're just going by acclaimed screenwriter because he ain't such an acclaimed comic book writer, and drawn by kinetic X-Men artist Marcus To. All right, here we go. This time, this iconic comic book super squad will be built from the ground up by mutant inventor Forge. Most of the people that I talk to, because I'll tell you right now, I'm not the biggest X-Men guy. So I even talk to the people who do the X-Men stuff on our Weird Science Marvel Comics feed, the podcast that we do. Talk to them, and they're really pumped. They think that that's a good idea of having Forge do this, accessing an Omega level degree of his unique and complex mutant power to build anything. Forge will bear witness to everything broken in the world. Luckily, he knows exactly who he'll need to repair it. Rachel Summers, Betsy Braddock, Sage, Surge, and Tank. I have not talked to any. I talked to about 10 people just randomly. Hey, this is the team. Some people didn't even know this was announced. But, and again, because I don't think there was that much hype around it. But, hey, this is the team of the new X-Force. I didn't have anybody, not one person say, oh, that sounds cool. Most people was like, well, I like Forge and maybe a couple of the others. Most of the people point out either not liking Rachel or that Betsy Braddock is kind of the sticking point, even though half of them said, well, I don't really love Betsy Braddock and how she's been written, but at least this isn't Teenie Howard doing it, so I'm willing to give it a chance. But there was not one person that I talked to that said, oh my God, this team will make me read this book. I'd love to hear if there's anybody out there that this team specifically where, I don't know if I'll like, oh, that's the team. I need to read this. I'd like to know if there is anybody, but to save nothing short of its existence itself. So you get it, like Forge, he can build anything, but can he repair a broken world? See, that's could have been the headline, right? They kind of used the broken, but they could have played it a little more. To save nothing short of its existence itself. See, I reread it and mess up again. They'll jump sword, gun, and fist first into deadly uncertainty, and the only thing getting in their way will be the secrets they keep. A new path is forged. Oh my, you did it. The world is fractured. Forge uses his powers to devise the only fix. An all-new, all-different X-Force. Don't use that. You're really not singing the song that many people will like when you mention all new, all different. Please. Forge leads a custom-made, handpicked team of mutants in off-the-books mission so dire, so integral to the fate of the Marvel Universe, there's no time to stop for permission. Plus, it's like me when I wanted to, play hooky. Back then, I didn't play hooky. I was a very good boy. I'm not one of the boys who are bad. I'm a good boy. Plus, as Forge detects increasing threats across the planet, he'll recruit specialists for each target. It's a revolving door of Marvel guest stars, and first up, that regenerating degenerate Deadpool, I think, right there. And if it's kind of the funny idea in play, yeah, there's a Deadpool movie coming up, but this really feels like the groaning that people get when any team at DC is announced, and like, and by the way, things will get wacky because Harley Quinn's here. And, you kind of go back and forth with them. But yeah, I think that maybe they could have kept that out, but a revolving door does set up the chance of having some cool guest stars. And I like Deadpool enough. I think we're going to get oversaturated with Deadpool, and I don't think you need that in a new team like this. I cannot believe the reaction to my pitch with, quote, that sounds like X-Force to us, Thorne shared. Now, again, let's kind of dissect that a bit, because it's a weird sentence that he says. I cannot believe the reaction to my pitch with, that sounds like X-Force to us. So basically he's saying, I came up with the wackiest pitch ever that didn't feel like X-Force, but boy, the X-Men offices thought it did sound like X-Force. All right. The last time this kind of came up, and the kind of idea of this, was Cy Spurrier saying that he threw this pitch for Flash at the DC editors, thinking that they wouldn't accept it in a way that he almost didn't want them to. And they said, okay, go with it. That's not a good way to start things. The idea that, man, I had the craziest pitch that never would go, oh, they liked it? Okay. And says it's a new vibe and a different mission, but it's still X-Force. We'll see. Looking at all the books coming out under this banner, I'll just paraphrase the prophet Sheryl Crow, here's the thing. I love to throw old references as jokes. It is kind of a thing, and some people get the joke and some people don't. I know that he's saying the joke is the prophet Sheryl Crow, but still, boy, that is so outdated. Go Lady Gaga, right? Go Olivia Rodrigo. Do something like that. But he wants to go with the song. All I want to do is have some fun. See, I would have went, and what I usually do in this, I would have said, oh, just like Cyndi Lauper and the girls, I just want to have fun. See, go further back, because then it seems cooler. When you're stuck in between, you get Sheryl Crow, not that cool. I'm looking at what I'm getting to do and what the others are bringing. I'm absolutely not the only one. See, he's trying to really push the Sheryl Crow reference. Like, there's a guy who you're like, okay, I see you're trying to be Deadpool yourself, and it's failing. It's failing miserably, right? I mean, really not good. What he needs is to have a better poker face. See, that's how you do it. I'm telling you, it's just as bad when I do it. When Marvel approached me to be the artist for X-Force, I was ecstatic, Marcus Toe added, probably shaking his head and telling, Geoffrey Thorne to stop with the Sheryl Crow. I was always a big fan of the X books growing up, and to be part of bringing that excitement to new and old readers alike was an opportunity I could not turn down. And the chance to draw Betsy Braddock again is icing on the cake. I don't want to ask what flavor that cake is because I have a feeling that's a little crappy. But that's that. That is the announcement. Just like Sheryl Crow sang. I really don't know that many Sheryl Crow songs off the top of my head. I should have prepared more of a joke at the end so I could have been right in there with the Geoffrey Thorne with the jokes. But just like Guns N' Roses saying, "Welcome to the jungle. You're going to die." See, it works. It works. Actually, it's pretty good. But again, this whole thing, I'm one of those, and I've said it on a lot of these news things, and especially with the X stuff and even some other stuff, the idea I wait until things come out to really give a judgment. It's silly to say, this will stink, this will be the greatest. But I'm willing to give it a chance. But I don't think that I am that optimistic from the Sheryl Crow quotes and the idea that other than that, Geoffrey Thorne said, I had this screwed up idea for a book and they went with it. Let's go, Sheryl Crow. High five. So very odd. Like I said, a lot of people I talk to like Marcus Toe's art, but Geoffrey Thorne not really bringing the boys to the milkshakes in the backyards, as they say. So I wonder how everybody thinks of this, and I think most people shrug their shoulders and say, well, I'll check it out when it comes out, but not really something that's like, oh my God, these are the, creatives that I've been waiting for. This really shows, oh man, everybody wants to get on board. We got some cool things. And with the other two books that will be announced this week, there's rumors that I hear, very strong rumors, that it might be, say, a Kevin Scott or a Christopher Cantwell. And if it is one or both of those, I'm going to shrug my shoulders again because they're not my favorites. But I think maybe they have more of a Marvel pedigree than, say, a Geoffrey Thorne. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you like the team, if you like the idea of Sheryl Crow, if you like cake. I don't know. Just let me know, and we'll discuss it there. But thanks, everybody, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science
is the revolution.